Hello, everyone. This isn't just a story about secrets. It's a story about a hollowed out pumpkin and the two men who buried it, consequently burying a nation's trust. In the crucible of Cold War America, the Pumpkin Papers case uncovered a paranoid world of spies, betrayals, and political ambition. It launched the career of a future president, haunted a brilliant diplomat for decades, and fundamentally changed how America saw itself. With that being said, let's get right into it. Our story begins with two men from opposite ends of the American experience. Alger Hiss, a Harvard-educated, silver-tongued diplomat, a protege of Supreme Court Justice Felix Frankfurter, and a key architect of the United Nations. He represented the pinnacle of the liberal establishment. His accuser, Whittaker Chambers, was a rumpled, former communist from a troubled working-class family, now a senior editor at Time magazine. He was a self-confessed traitor, but he had found God and was now prepared to confess his sins. It was at the HUAC hearings that Chambers first dropped his bombshell accusation.
Swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, to help you God.
I do. Sit right down there, Mr. Chambers, and talk in the microphone. That's the one, yes. Your full name for the record?
My full name is J. David Whittaker Chambers. Philadelphia in 1901, April 1st.
What is your present occupation?
I am a senior editor of Time magazine.
Were you at one time a member of the Communist Party?
I was.
How long were you a member of the Communist Party?
I was a member of the Communist Party from 1924 until 1937 or early 38.
You detailed to the committee the various positions which you held in the Communist Party.
Yes. I was at one time a writer on the Daily Worker, later a foreign news editor of the Daily Worker, later, in effect, managing editor of the Daily Worker, editor of the New Masses, and a functionary in the underground.
Mr. Chambers, when you were with the New
32, roughly through 1937.
During that period, did you meet the person who was on the witness stand today, Alger Hiss?
I did meet Mr. Alger Hiss.
Would you now give to the committee a chronological resume of your meeting of Mr. Hiss and how long you knew Mr. Hiss, the circumstances under which you met him?
I believe that I was first introduced to Mr. Hiss by Harold Ware and J. Peters, who was the head of the underground of the American Communist Party. The meeting took place in Washington, and I believe in a restaurant. I then continued to know Mr. Hiss until I broke with the Communist Party in early in 1938, and I saw him once again toward the end of 1938.
Did you ever meet Mr. Hiss at the offices of the Nye Investigating Committee in the Senate office building?
I never did.
You never did. Did you ever meet Mr. Hiss at his apartment on 28th Street?
I did.
How many times did you meet Mr. Hiss, would you say, at the address on 28th Street?
I could not.
You did not. Did Mr. Hiss ever sublease an apartment to you on 28th Street?
He did not.
He did not. Did he ever permit you to live in an apartment on 28th Street?
He did.
He did. Did Mr. Hiss at any time sell you a Ford automobile, Model A, 1929 model?
He did not.
He did not. You have questions, Steve? Did you?
Was in the whole setup. J. Peters was the organizer of the underground section of the Communist Party. He was dealing with party comrades, and these were dues-paying members of the Communist Party.
J. Peters introduced Alger Hiss to you as a member of the Communist Party.
That was understood.
Do you have any other information on which to base your statement that Mr. Hiss is a member of the Communist Party? Other than J. Peters told you.
Mr. Hiss obeyed party discipline in every respect.
Did you yourself have occasion at any time to take dues from Mr. Hiss?
I did.
You did? On one occasion or more occasions?
At least on one occasion, and I would think on at least on 3 occasions.
Have there been more or less than that? Do you know what kind of an automobile Mr. Hiss had at that time?
The car that Mr. Hiss had when I first knew him was a Ford,
What did he get after that?
a Plymouth.
You ever ridden in that Plymouth?
I have.
Where's the ride?
I think we made one trip to New York together in the Plymouth.
Well, think, you know, make that trip, you recall the trip?
We made a trip. Organization of the underground. There should be no communication between the open Communist Party and the underground Communist Party, except through people delegated by either of those sections. Mr. Hiss, however, insisted that his old car should be given to the open Communist Party to be used by some poor communist organizer in the West or elsewhere. I was very much opposed to this. J. Peters was also very much opposed to it. But, however, I will tell my address and get rid of this question right away.
No, I don't think so, Mr. Chairman.
None at all.
We'll give you business
My
address.
business address is
Fearing he would be destroyed by Hiss's libel suit, Chambers produced a trove of typed State Department documents from an envelope he had hidden in a dumbwaiter shaft at his nephew's mother's house in Baltimore. Nevertheless, the smoking gun was yet to come. In December 1948, Chambers led investigators to his farm in Westminster, Maryland. Inside a hollowed-out pumpkin, he had hidden 5 rolls of microfilm. The press, loving the alliteration, quickly dubbed them the Pumpkin Papers. The evidence was damning. FBI analysis proved that the typewritten documents were made on a Woodstock typewriter that once belonged to the Hiss family. Furthermore, notes were found to be in Hiss's own handwriting. While the statute of limitations for espionage had expired, Hiss was indicted for perjury as a result of lying under oath. A young Richard Nixon, arriving triumphantly on a Coast Guard plane after the discovery, seized the spotlight, cementing his public image as a fierce anti-communist.
I am holding in my hand a microfilm of very highly confidential, secret State Department documents. These documents were fed out of the State Department over 10 years ago by communists who were employees of that department and who were interested in seeing if these documents were sent to the Soviet Union, where the interests of the Soviet Union happened to be in conflict with those of the United States.
Commenting on Mr. Munt's so-called summation, I would like to point out that the man who calls himself Chambers has, by his own testimony, been peddling to various government agencies for 10 years or so stories about me. I urge in advance of that hearing that your committee delay no longer in penetrating to the bedrock of the facts relevant to the charge which you have publicized that I am or have been a communist.
I don't hate Mr. Hiss. We were close friends, but we are caught in the tragedy of history. Mr. Hiss represents the concealed enemy against which we are all fighting, and I am fighting. I testified against him with remorse and pity.
Believe it or not, Hiss's first perjury trial ended in a hung jury.
Alger Hiss, former State Department official, arrives at federal court in New York with his wife to hear the verdict on the perjury charges of which he was accused by Whittaker Chambers. Mr. Chambers, self-confessed former communist agent, had claimed he received from Hiss a number of secret State Department papers for delivery to the Russians. On his farm at Westminster, Maryland, Chambers had no comment to make at the end of the trial, presided over by Judge Samuel H. Kaufman. The case was legally the United States versus Alger Hiss, but the popular question was simply who was lying, Hiss or Chambers. The jury, after deliberating 28 hours, ended in a deadlock, standing 8-4 for conviction. Hiss, who hoped for complete exoneration, faces a retrial in the fall.
Hiss's first perjury trial ended in a hung jury, but the second trial was different. The prosecution, led by Thomas Murphy, called a new witness, a former Soviet agent named Haiti Massing, who testified she had seen Hiss at a communist cell meeting. The character assassination of Chambers by the defense backfired, and the jury, convinced by the physical evidence, found Hiss guilty on both counts. Hiss was sentenced to 5 years in prison, of which he served 44 months. The case's impact was monumental. Hiss's conviction validated the fears of many that communists had infiltrated the U.S. government, paving the way for the rise of McCarthyism. It solidified Richard Nixon's reputation as a tireless investigator and launched his political ascent. Unfortunately for Hiss, the battle was never over. He maintained his innocence until his death, with his case becoming a proxy fight for the liberal versus conservative divide in America. Even after the 1990s release of the Venona cables, Soviet intelligence messages that appear to refer to Hiss as a spy. The controversy remains a symbol of a divided nation still grappling with its Cold War past.
A Soviet spy ring unearthed in 1946 led investigators to Alger Hiss, who had been a wartime foreign policy advisor. He was accused of passing secrets to the Soviet Union by a former communist, Whittaker Chambers.
Have you ever seen this individual who is standing?
I have.
Do you know him?
I identify him,
In 1935 was the last time that you saw him.
according to my best recollection, not having checked the record.
Now, will you remain standing a moment, Mr. Hiss? Do you know?
Hiss firmly denied that he had betrayed his country.
New evidence of communist activities in government circles is promised by the House Committee on Un-American Activities. Microfilm reportedly found in a pumpkin on a Maryland farm is examined by investigator Stripling and Congressman Nixon.
Richard Nixon, an ambitious young Republican, was convinced that Hiss was lying.
It is the intention of the Committee on Un-American Activities to pursue this investigation until we put the spotlight on those high officials in the State Department who are responsible for selling this country down the river.
Hiss was jailed for perjury.
This is another historical event I stumbled upon while researching for a completely different video. Once I realized there was barely any information about it readily available, I felt compelled to make a video about it. I was surprised I'd never heard anything about it before now. Did you know about the pumpkin papers? Do you think Alger Hiss was a patsy, or do you think he was guilty? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and as usual, if you're a fan of urban legends, folklore, unsolved mysteries, cold cases, and all things mysterious, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel.